What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. It is beautiful out. The weather has finally broke and we finally have some really good sunshine and some high degree weather here. We've got 80 degrees today. It's nice and sunny. So Jafar, of course, had to get out and explore, and he's really loving all the extra attention today. But this video is going to be, yes, about reticulated pythons, but also I'm going a little bit deeper into what's happening in Florida right now, because there's some pretty horrific things happening to my fellow snake keepers and my fellow snake enthusiasts and hobbyists. So I really want to dive into that today and just like let you guys know what my take is on everything. Of course, I am a reptile enthusiast, I am a rehabber, I am an educator, and my heart and passion is reptiles. So I'm not going to be quiet about this. I'm going to make a splash with what little influence I have. I know I don't have a huge platform just yet, but this is something I feel like if you are super into the reptile world and community, it's important for you to use whatever platform you have to speak out about what is happening to our fellow reptile enthusiasts down in Florida. As many of you may have heard or become aware of, there was a gentleman who was trying to rehome a lot of his reticulated pythons and his Burmese pythons. He had a deadline, and although he had rehomed many of them, he had a few left over. He was still working on rehoming. Balthazar is going to be in the video. I'm so sorry. He asked for an extension on the deadline so that he could find his animals the proper home. They said no, and they sent officers to his house to euthanize his animals. So before we start, as usual, I want to give a huge shout out to my patrons on Patreon who are donating their time and money every single month. Big shout out to Jessica Gum, who is our biggest donor. She's doing $100 a month. Jessica, we appreciate you so much. She is our Bearded Dragons OP, original parent, and she has gone above and beyond for us, and we are just really appreciative of her. She also just joined our board for our nonprofit, so I'm just going to give a huge shout out to her today. We really appreciate you, Jessica. Thank you for all that you're doing. Another huge shout out to everyone who is purchasing our merchandise, who's hiring us to come educate their youth. We really appreciate you all. We just got board approved here in the state of Ohio to educate in public schools, so that's really exciting. Our reptiles are going to be making a huge splash, and we're hoping to spread the awareness of these amazing animals so that things like what's happening in Florida can just stop happening. I mean, this is just, it's unnecessary, and the more we educate ourselves and the more we learn about these amazing animals, the better equipped we are to help them sustain a healthy and full loving life. I mean, this is just, it's to the point now where we have Burmese taking over the Everglades and retics taking over the Everglades, and the ecosystem is dying, and this is all none of the snake's fault. This is all because of humans. This is all because we have done the wrong thing for so long that it is time to change this industry and start doing the right thing. Education is right at our fingertips at any given moment because we have cell phones and laptops. The internet is accessible anywhere. There is no excuse for bad keeping. There is no excuse for releasing your animal into the wild. There is no excuse for what is happening down in Florida right now with the officers going into people's homes and killing their pets. There is just no excuse for this. So my goal is to educate and spread awareness for these animals because they do not have as big of a voice as dogs or cats or guinea pigs or pet rabbits or things that are furry and cute and people consider to be safe. These animals are looked at as hazardous, and they're scary, and people don't want to talk about this, but it has to be talked about. This is to the point now where, you know, our rights as American citizens, it almost feels like they're being taken from us in which animals we can and cannot have because of bad keepers. So we have to change the stigma. We have to change how we are doing things. We have to educate. Breeders have to be better about who they're selling their animals to. You have to know whether someone is going, especially the big constrictor snakes like your Burmese and your retics and your anacondas, any boas. You guys have got to, breeders specifically, you have got to be better at deciding who takes these animals. This is what is going on in our world, and it is coming back and affecting us keepers who put our hearts into this and really care about these animals and want to give them a sustainable life for the whole life they have, not just until we feel like we're done with taking care of them because it's too much work, etc. It isn't fair to us. So it is time to change how this industry has been handled for the last however many years, 50 plus years. So that is what this video is about. Let's crack into it. Okay, so the situation that happened down in Florida, a man was trying to rehome all of his larger constrictor snakes, the ones that which are now illegal to house in Florida, much like my big guy Jafar here. Reticulated pythons are now banned from Florida for keepers. It is not a snake that you are allowed to possess in captivity anymore. It's crazy to me that that is a thing. I know it's because of bad keeping and people who are irresponsible with their animals. It just really stinks because there are so many of us out there who put our hearts and souls into this hobby, and we are enthusiasts and we are passionate about what we do, and now we're having restrictions on our own pets just because some people decided to be irresponsible keepers. It is unfair, and it needs to be talked about and shared. So as soon as you get into this video, if you don't mind to like and share the heck out of this video, because this is such an important topic, and we need to discuss it. Reticulated pythons and Burmese pythons have been banned from the state of Florida. A lot of keepers are trying to find proper homes for them, ones that will keep the animal for the rest of their lives, because some keepers have hundreds of snakes, sometimes even more than that. It is going to be very difficult for keepers to find homes for all of their animals. So this man had asked for an extension. Basically, the officers were sent to his house because he was not warranted an extension to euthanize his animals. Again, I feel like there's just such a better way to handle this in Florida, such as creating an organization or forming some kind of this is a retic for you, the Gentle Giants, forming some kind of organization that is depicted around you know, keeping up with people who do keep snakes, having you know, application process for people who would like to keep these snakes, making them check in monthly, making them, you know, have specific enclosures that are escape proof, warranting these officers to go to the house and to check off on all of the enclosure sizes, etc. The locks on them, making sure. I feel like this is just a better system than to just go euthanizing, one, all of the animals that people have, and two, it will keep people from getting anxious that their animals are going to die and then releasing them into the wild. Because I'm going to say this right now, no one's coming to my house and euthanizing my animals. That's not over. Like, I am not going to allow it. I just will not allow that. And like, whatever goes down, goes down. I mean, that's just the way it is. I will protect my animals because that is what I chose to do when I bought them. They are mine. They are my responsibility. And as long as they live under my care, I will do anything in my power, just like I will with my children, just like I will with my family, to protect anything which lives in my house. And I know a lot of keepers feel this way. So Florida is going to come up against a lot of really big problems with us reptile keepers if this kind of stuff keeps happening. So it wasn't bad enough that these officers entered into this man's home to euthanize his animals with a nail gun through the top of the head, in between the eyes. They would put the nail down through the top of the head, in between the snake's eyes, to euthanize these animals. In my opinion, that is just so traumatizing. That would traumatize me. It would traumatize my children. It would be so horrific to have to watch that or to be around that. Not only did they come into this man's house to do that, but they made this man hold his own animal while they did it. So on top of the man having to witness his animal being euthanized, he was forced to hold this animal down and watch it be euthanized by these officers. So if that's not bad enough, then you go and see these officers standing over his euthanized deceased pets, because they're pets and we love these animals like you do your dog or cat. And I don't care who comes for me in the comments, that we feel so strongly about our animals that, like, whatever a person who is a dog person, I love my dogs very much. I love them so much as I love my snakes. It is no different. I love everything that lives in my house. They are my life. They are my passion. My children obviously come first, but next to my children are my animals. So being an animal enthusiast, an animal lover, and a reptile lover, I cannot imagine what this man had to go through. The mental strain, the emotional pain, the suffering that this man had to go through, not only witnessing this from his animal, but then being forced to hold this poor snake down and have it euthanized right in front of him. But not only was that bad enough, these men are standing over top of the corpses of his dead pets and smiling. They are smiling. They think it is funny. And I cannot even get over the fact that there are people in this world who have such little empathy. I am baffled that this is a situation that we are seeing in 2023, knowing the mental health crisis, knowing how things affect people emotionally. How dare somebody come into someone's home, their safe space, murder their pets, and then smile about it? Like, this is unbelievable. I cannot believe it is happening. Somebody needs to do something. And that is why I'm making this video, because if this were my husband, my brother, my child, my father, I'm telling you, there would be a fight somewhere. Legally, I don't care. This is unacceptable. We have to do better. Humans have to do better. This is just so disgusting. It's distasteful on Florida's part. Like, shame on you, Florida. Do better. If you're going to euthanize people's pets that they love, do better. Do something that is more effective and gentle and kind and empathetic. This is horrific and it is disgusting. And I really hope that everybody in the reptile community speaks out against this, because it is so nasty. It is. So I'm making this video because I have seen several other reptile enthusiasts who are so passionate like I am and who love their animals so much. I have rescued these animals from some horrific environments, and they do nothing but just tolerate everything I do to them. I've had to stick syringes down their throats. I've had to open their mouths and check their teeth, and they just let me do whatever to them. These are not dangerous animals. They are only as dangerous as how they are kept. So that is one important thing to know. I recently heard a saying, I think it was about a year ago, and I don't know who originally said this. It is not my saying, but it is my favorite quote in this hobby. And it is, once the keeper and the kept lose fear in one another, that is when the magic happens. And that is 100% accurate with anything you keep. If you are the keeper, you cannot be afraid of your animal, because if you are, you lose all that bond and all that magic. But these animals are capable of bonding. They are capable of emotion. I have seen it. I've seen them becoming bored. I've seen them becoming depressed. Working with these animals for over 15 years now, I have seen all angles of these species. My very first snake I ever got was a Burmese python when I was 17. It was a remarkable animal. It's since passed. It was an older snake when I got it, and that's been about 16 years ago now. So it has since passed away. But my point is, we do bond with our pets. We bond with these animals. We love them. Jafar is my baby. I tell everybody all the time he's my baby. I kiss him right on the mouth. I love him very much. And I think he knows that. He's getting cold. The breeze is starting to blow down here. It's like 82 degrees outside, but we're not standing in the sun, so I might need to move to keep him warm. Right, buddy? Jafar is a mainland reticulated python. He is a male. These are sexually dimorphic snakes, so the males do tend to stay a lot smaller than the females. So Jafar won't get as big as some of the very long snakes. These are a long, slender-bodied snake. They are not a thick, girthy snake like a boa constrictor or berm. So these guys are going to reach lengths of, 12 feet to 25 feet, depending on, obviously, the sex and how it is fed in captivity. They are called reticulated pythons because of their reticulated pattern. And in my opinion, this is probably my favorite pet snake. He's curious, he is loving, he is gentle, he's very tolerant. He pretty much lets me do whatever. If I need to get him off of something, I can just pull him right off. He does not seem to mind. He has zero aggression. Of course, he's still a juvenile. He hasn't really hit that pubescent stage where he's reaching sexual maturity yet. They do hit a little bit of a temperamental phase during that time. But he hasn't really done that yet. So far, he has just been a remarkable pet. And he has been probably one of my favorite pet snakes that we house, that we keep. I did go out of my way to purchase Jafar because this is my dream snake. I've wanted one my whole life. This was kind of like one of those things, like I've been doing ball pythons and colubrids and stuff like that for a long time. And then when I bought my house, I was like, I would love to have a retic. So now I'm doing retics and boa imperators and all the things. And I just know how much I care about each species I house. Each one is so unique and special, and there's so much to learn about each one's personality and temperament. I just couldn't imagine, dealing with something so heinous and so awful as what these people in Florida are dealing with. I'm sending out my condolences to this man, but also I am sending out a big thank you for videoing. I know that's something that you weren't technically allowed to do or you were asked not to do, but thank you, because spreading awareness on this is so very important. Although spreading awareness on the invasive species and what that's doing to the ecosystem is also very important. The responsible keepers should not be punished for the actions of irresponsible keepers. That is so unfair. It is so unfair, and there's a better way to do it. There's a better system than this. And if we do not speak out on this, it's not going to change, and people will continue to lose their pets. Pets that they have had for years. These animals can live up to 30 years. Some of these people are losing animals that they have had almost their entire lifetime. That is wrong. I'm sorry, it's wrong. I don't care how invasive the species is. It is not invasive inside a proper enclosure, inside of someone's responsible keepers' homes, who are caring for these animals and doing the right thing. Should we be shaming them? Should we be punishing them for the actions of someone who is irresponsible enough to release their pet? No, that is unfair. There should be a system put in place that allows a person to keep their pet. They're grandfathered in if they already have them, and you just have to report the pet, and you have to have somebody come and do an analysis on how that pet's being kept, check the number, and then if for some reason the person becomes irresponsible with their animals, obviously then it's time to look into a different action for that person. But until then, I feel like we are going about this all wrong. And so let's be the voice to the voiceless. Let's speak out against this. Let's not let another person lose their pets this way. This is a horrific way to lose your animal, and we have got to speak out. We have got to do something. Not just people in the reptile community, people everywhere. This is just, if that happened to me in my house, I don't know. I don't think I could take it emotionally. I really don't think I could. These animals help me with my mental health. They help me sustain a healthy life. They give me a purpose. Without them needing me and all the things that I have to do every day, my life would be so much different than it is right now. So, and I know that there are others like that out there, and I know there are others who are in Florida who feel that way, who now have to give up their passion, but also their purpose, and that's really unfair. So share this video, like this video. Let's get this information out here. Let's start doing something to change this. The reptile world, the reptile keeping world has got to change. not just keepers, but breeders, the laws around them, they have to be fair, they have to be just, and they're just not. So everybody has to play a part in what you're putting out there about your animals. Stop all of this nonsense, like big giant monsters and scary, and that is only hurting our industry. Stop doing that. That's not what they are. They are not monsters. They are not evil. These are beautiful, remarkable animals that make amazing pets. If you're a keeper, if you're an educator, if you're an influencer, and you're putting stuff out there like that for fear factor, shame on you. Shame on you. That is only hurting our industry. If you're putting things out there about your animals, like biting and doing stuff like that, please stop doing that. The live feeding, I'm going along with Intrepid Reptiles just did a video on what you should stop posting, and I'm going to kind of bank off that. He said quit posting videos on live feeding, and I'm going to agree with him on that. And it's not because I'm telling you it either is or isn't correct way to feed. I personally don't do it, but no one wants to watch an animal suffer, and it does make the animals just look that much worse to the public. And right now we cannot afford that in this industry. Slowly, state by state, they're going to start taking our animals from us, and they're going to start making us, give up the things that we love. And that is just, it can't happen. We have to start changing things. Breeders, you have got to be on top of who you're selling your animals to. It's not all about the money. You're going to ruin it for yourselves too, because once these laws are set into place on these animals, you're no longer going to have a platform where you can sell your animals. This is going to be something that's going to affect you too. Quit overbreeding, quit overpopulating. Stop trying to, sell the best morph and get all these, regulars out here and just tossing them off to anybody. And you have to be responsible when you're breeding and selling these animals, because we are being regulated left and right. And if you aren't on top of what you're doing as a breeder, you're part of the problem. So not only keepers, but breeders and anyone who is in this hobby, who is any part of this hobby, influencers, creators, breeders, keepers, all of us, we have to do better in this community, because if we don't, we're going to lose our animals. So I'm going to quit ranting, because I could go on for days about this. I am outraged. I am heartbroken, and I think that we all should be. So let's start speaking out. Let's protest. Let's sign, petitions. Let's get our voice out there as keepers, as breeders, as hobbyists, as influencers. Let's start making a splash and demanding that something else be done so that we don't lose our animals. I can't imagine these people, what they are going through. We have to be the voice for the voiceless, period. This isn't the snake's fault. Because of humans that we are having any of these issues. We need to remember that. So the humans need to start doing better. And that is what I intend on talking about a lot in the near future. And I really hope that you like and share this video. And I really hope that maybe you're inspired to make your own, because we have to stand up for what is right. And this is just not right. So I will catch you on the next video.
I'm dreaming in dreams bigger than me, taking my time, giving to me, paint my life into a masterpiece.